Hi, I'm Audrey Blondin. I'm an attorney here in Torrington, Connecticut, and I'm also a Democratic activist here in the state of Connecticut. We've all heard about this Project 2025, referring to the upcoming presidential election and the part of the Republican Party platform. So I thought I'd take a few minutes and give you an overview of what we're looking at when we get some information here about Project 2025. So, Project 2025 is a set of policy proposals by the Heritage Foundation to reshape the U.S. federal government with right-wing reforms if Republicans win the 2024 presidential election. Launched in 2022, it aims to replace current federal civil servants with conservatives and advance the next Republican president's objectives. Project 2025 envisions major government changes focusing on economic and social policies. It aims to assert partisan control over agencies like the Department of Justice, the FBI, and the FCC, dismantling the Department of Homeland Security, and reduce environmental regulations to boost fossil fuel production. Since 1981, the Heritage Foundation has released its Mandate for Leadership series with each presidential election. Project 2025, launched in 2022 by Heritage Foundation President Kevin Roberts, offers a personnel database and ideological framework for the 2024 Republican nominee, addressing civil servants' reluctance to support Trump's controversial actions. Nearly half of the project's partners have received dark money from groups linked to major conservative donor Leonard Leoy. Project 2025 consists of the 4 pillars. The first is the conservative promise, which represents a consensus view of how major federal agencies must be governed. The second is a personnel database to be collected and shared with the president-elect's team, open to the public for submissions. The third is an online educational system called the Presidential Administration Academy. And the fourth is a playbook designed for forming agency teams and drafting transition plans to move out upon the president's utterance of "So help me God." Project 2025 advises a future Republican president to nullify President Biden's climate orders and to abandon efforts to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. It suggests repealing emission regulations, downsizing the EPA, abolishing NOAA, blocking states from stricter emission rules, and relaxing fossil fuel industry regulations. It advocates for the federal government to prioritize the development of oil, gas, and coal resources, including Arctic drilling. It proposes blocking national grid expansion, hindering renewable energy, and reversing the EPA's 2009 carbon emissions findings. Additionally, it encourages the public to legally challenge climatology research. Project 2025 aims to extend the 2017 tax cuts, simplify income taxes to 2 brackets, 15% and 30%, lower the corporate tax rate to 18%, and set a 15% tax on capital gains and dividends. It also proposes a 3/5 vote threshold to raise taxes despite concerns about its constitutionality. Project 2025 envisions a minimal federal role focusing on statistics. It would limit federal civil rights enforcement in schools, shifting responsibilities to the Department of Justice, which could only act through litigation. The project also recommends higher pay for Sunday work, citing religious reasons, and seeks to impose work requirements for SNAP, that's food stamp recipients. Project 2025 proposes drastically reducing the federal role in education, prioritizing school choice and parents' rights. It advocates eliminating the Department of Education, allowing states to opt out of federal programs, and ending investigations into racial or ethnic disparities in school discipline. A federal fund worth $18 billion for low-income students, Title I of the Elementary and Secondary Education Act of 1965, would be allowed to expire with responsibilities transferred to the states. Public funds for education would be available with no strings attached as school vouchers, even for parents sending their children to private or religious schools. Free school meals and the Head Start program would be eliminated. Project 2025 also criticizes any programs to forgive student loans. Project 2025 seeks to replace the entire executive branch, including the Department of Justice, the FBI, the FCC, and the FTC, under direct presidential control. It also plans to dismiss all senior State Department employees on January 20th, 2025. These positions would be filled by acting leaders who do not require Senate confirmation. Project 2025 creates a personnel database aligned with Donald Trump's ideology, using a questionnaire to vet recruits based on their adherence to its agenda. It advises selecting the future White House counsel to be deeply committed to the President's America First agenda. Project 2025 supports Trump's plan to use Schedule F, a job classification he established in October of 2020, to fire more government employees than allocated. This could endanger tens of thousands of experienced federal civil servants across administrations. Project 2025 proposes that the U.S. should limit its nuclear umbrella to NATO members, requiring them to handle conventional defenses against Russia. It also calls for defunding specific UN agencies, increasing presidential control over foreign aid, and redirecting aid from climate change efforts to fossil fuel interests. According to Project 2025, the federal government should revoke Medicare's drug price negotiation power, promote Medicare Advantage plans, deny gender-affirming care, and eliminate coverage for the morning after pill. The plan also suggests cutting Medicaid funding, capping benefits, and tightening work requirements. Additionally, it proposes reforming the NIH by easing employee terminations and removing DEI programs. The mandate of leadership proposes abolishing the DHS and replacing it with an immigration agency that includes the CBP, TSA, ICE, USCIS, and parts of HHS and Justice. Project 25 calls for arresting and removing immigration violators nationwide, deputizing the National Guard in red states as immigration officers under Trump's command, and deploying them into blue states. Project 2025 opposes radical gender ideology and advocates for a government-backed, biblically based definition of marriage and family. It calls for recognizing only heterosexual men and women, removing protections against discrimination based on sexual or gender identity, and eliminating DEI provisions from federal laws. Federal employees involved in DEI or critical race theory programs could be fired. Project 2025 proposes disbanding the White House's Gender Policy Council, banning quotas and data collection on gender, race, or ethnicity, and making the FBI director directly accountable to the president. The Department of Justice's Civil Rights Division would prosecute entities with DEI or affirmative action programs. The project also aims to revive adding a citizenship question to the U.S. Census. Project 2025 seeks to limit DOJ's consent decrees with local police, prioritize agencies like the DEA over the FBI in overlapping duties, and promote capital punishment for severe crimes. It also suggests expanding the Secret Service's law enforcement role in Washington, D.C. beyond the White House area, viewing the city as crime-infested. Project 2025 would eliminate DEI programs at the Pentagon, reinstate service members discharged for not getting COVID-19 vaccinations, and bar the military from considering climate change as a national security threat. It identifies China as the top threat, advocating for banning TikTok and the Confucius Institutes due to concerns over espionage and influence on American society. Project 2025 asserts that life begins at conception and rejects abortion as healthcare, aiming to restore policies promoting the well-being of Americans from conception to natural death. Despite the Dobbs ruling leaving abortion laws to the states, it urges the next president to pursue strong protections for the unborn at the federal level. Project 2025 demands the FDA withdraw approval of abortion pills, mandates detailed state reporting on abortions, and seeks to restore Trump-era religious exemptions to contraceptive mandates. It also aims to defund Planned Parenthood and remove protections for abortion-related medical records and criminal investigations across state lines. Project 2025 aims to revive and enforce the Comstock Act to ban the mailing of abortion pills and related medical equipment. This would allow for criminal prosecutions of both senders and receivers. By cutting off access to these tools, the plan could effectively create a national abortion ban. Project 2025 advocates reducing the bipartisan infrastructure law of 2021, which funds decarbonizing transportation. It criticizes the FTA as wasteful and suggests cutting its funding for transit agencies through the Capital Investment Grants Program. This proposal also calls for more stringent cost-benefit analysis despite the FTA's existing scrutiny of projects. In conclusion, in June 2024, Democratic Congressman Jared Huffman launched the Stop Project 2025 task force, warning that the project could strike swiftly and without warning. Concerns have been raised about Project 2025's potential to erode democratic norms, target political opponents, and its stances on climate policy and LGBTQ+ rights. The initiative highlights the importance of upholding democratic values and staying vigilant to protect the future of American democracy. Thank you for listening, and remember to vote on November 5th. It's the most important election of our lifetime. Thank you.